Another one of those Paul Malvern productions. Yeah. How's that on the range there, folks? Taking some notes. Checking a film over that we're going to bring you. Got a really good one. It's an early John Wayne film, 1934. We got a lot of these early John Wayne pieces. This is where he's sort of sowing his oats, seeing what it's like to be a cowboy, kind of learning how to, well, do the things that he's going to do a lot later that we know him for. But we can't forget these early 30s films. This is Randy Rides Along. Now, my wife and I have a running joke about the name Randy. You can't have a Western without a Randy in it. You know, Randy, you know. So he plays Randy. Plays Randy Bowers in this. Matter of fact, he played Randy in a few earlier films in this, too. He was a singing cowboy. Doesn't sing in this one. Kind of didn't like doing that himself, and he got it out of their heads that he had to, so he didn't sing in this one. This is a Harry Fraser film. He directed this. This isn't Bradbury. He worked with Bradbury a lot at this time as well. But this is a Fraser film, and it's got Gabby Hayes in it. George Gabby Hayes. And one of the hallmarks of this film is that he doesn't play Gabby Hayes. He's not the Gabby. He's a bad guy. He's a villain. Matter of fact, he plays two roles. He plays Matt the Mute. Love that name, Matt the Mute. Yep, ma'am, I'm Matt the Mute. Of course, he wouldn't say that, right, because he's mute. And he continuously writes on. I like how these little sheets of paper he writes on. He writes real neat-like, too. Now he's writing a note, and he hands it to somebody, and they read it, and then he writes another one. He's really good at that, too. I think they should call him Matt the Good Penmanship Man. Okay, not Matt the Mute. He's kind of hunchback, too, a little bit. But that's a front. He's really Marvin Black. What a great name for a bad guy, right? He should be wearing a black hat. And he does. He dresses all in black. Know what happened when we get Smokey in black hat, right? Things sort of go berserk, go out of control. Well, that happens with Gabby Hayes. You know, I guess we could think about that. Gabby Hayes depends on what kind of hat he wears, you know. If he's wearing kind of a lighter hat, he's going to be the good guy. But he's dressed in black here, then he's Marvin Black. He's the bad guy. John Wayne, he comes into town. The opening of this film is very interesting. He rides into town. You know, that's one of the standard openings for a lot of Westerns, I've noticed. You got the cowboy riding in on the hill, and he rides in and he witnesses something. He sees a crime that he somehow gets pulled into. Well, in this case, he rides into a town. It's a very quiet town. And he goes up to the saloon, you know. I guess as a cowboy, he's kind of dry, his mouth full of dust. He's going to go to the saloon and wet his whistle a little bit, okay? And there's piano music playing. Got a player piano. You can hear it playing in the background. Kind of out of tune and things. Got a nice feel. Walks into that bar, and you know what he finds? Everybody in that bar is dead. There's a whole bunch of dead guys in that bar, and that piano's playing by itself. What a spooky way to start a film. And he gets accused of killing some of those fellers. Well, I'm not going to go too much further in about who did it and what happened all about it, but I'll just leave it to you to watch this film. Got some remarkable stuff. John Wayne does a good job. I think, though, George Hayes, he's the feller to watch in this thing. Does a nice job in those dual roles, playing Matt the Mute and Marvin Black. He also has a great, well, how to put this? The ending of this film is really, really neat. Not many cowboys are going to talk about neat endings, okay? But this one, this feller here, this hombre, does talk about a neat ending. And it has something to do with old George Hayes. It's interesting, too. Usually we think of George Hayes, he's, a Gabby Hayes, he's all bearded guy, right? And he's, Not in this one. Clean-shaven man. Clean-shaven man. Randy rides alone. While you're watching Westerns, here's a little thing for you. See if there's a Randy in it. If it isn't, starting to wonder if it's really worth its oats as a Western. Gotta have Randy. This one does. Main character, John Wayne. Well, folks, got that email at the end of our show. I'd like to hear from you. I know a lot of people out there are big Western aficionados. Know a lot about Westerns. Like to hear from you. Like to talk to you. Like to maybe share some ideas on Westerns. Myself, I've been involved with studying Westerns for a number of years, okay, but I know that you folks make it a passion. And there are things out there that maybe you'd like to hear me talk about. It's an open invitation to y'all. Come on down to the watering hole and we'll share some ideas. Get on that email, folks. Well, got to go out and do some more research on some films. That's a job that just never ends. Maybe I'll run into Yak Canute out there. Yak Canute. Maybe I'm going to do a little episode maybe talking about Yak Canute coming down the line. He's sort of an important figure. Well, going to load up my stuff. See you later, folks. Roll 'em, Smokey.